How Rent-A-Hitman fooled people into jail. Lock in.
Rent-A-Hitman.com.
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 I'm the webmaster of Rent-A-Hitman.com.
She's 18. She went on a website to hire a hitman.
This website is nothing more than a parody, but it did put a bunch of people behind bars. And the question is, how? Before we get started, I just wanted to shout out Wavy Web Surf because his video is what inspired this one. Our first customer. Years ago in 2010, Bob Inez, the owner of Rent-A-Hitman.com, stumbled upon an odd request in his email from a stranger. The person in question was a British woman named Helen, who was located in Canada, stranded without her passport. Although she was stuck in a foreign country with no way to get back home, she didn't ask for help because she had a different goal in mind. She wanted her family members back home, out of the picture, gone. Helen found the website Rent-A-Hitman.com and took the URL for what it was. Her request? She wanted to rent a hitman. In her email, she requested the services of a hitman to take out 3 of her family members in the UK.
Holy shit, for screwing her out of her father's inheritance. She wanted all 3 of them killed for fucking not getting her dad's inheritance when he she died or when he died. Bro, killing your fucking family over that is insane. Is she assuming she would get the money from after them dying? And how much are you willing to pay to kill somebody in this situation? Like, how much does a hitman cost?
And claimed that her family screwed her out of her inheritance.
Because, I mean, dude, if I was in a hypothetical scenario, renting a hitman, I would immediately assume it's at least 50 grand. Like, for you to pay someone to kill someone, it's got to be a lot. Somebody said 10K. 10K to kill somebody, bro? Like, and then also get away with it? It's got to be way more than that. I still feel like 50K is low. I feel like an honest hitman, it'd be like 100 more, 200. And it'd have to be somebody that's like easily killable.
But Bob,
not like Brad Pitt. Like, you're not going to kill Brad Pitt without somebody knowing.
the owner of the site didn't respond. He had no idea if this woman was actually serious about all this or if this was just another one of the prank emails he was so used to opening. But Helen wasn't giving up so soon. She asked again, and this time she sent Bob all of the personal information of those family members, including their full names and addresses. So Bob took this as a sign to take action. He sent her a reply back. "You still require our assistance? We can place you in contact with a field operative." Helen thought that this was it. Her wishes were finally coming true. She was getting a field operative on the job, a real trained professional. But what she didn't know was this was not a hitman. In fact, the operative on the other end of the line was the law itself. And just days later, Helen was locked up because Rent-A-Hitman wasn't real. It's nothing more than a spoof. And Bob didn't assign a hitman to the case, but rather the police.
Bro, and her not, I don't want to say that woman was stupid, but like, you want somebody to die and your first thing is to go on Google and type in rentahitman.com and like fill out a form. Like you're gonna get, like, that's gonna be, like, it's Google support. Like no one's gonna find you. You're just like, just on not even on the dark web or anything. You're just on base Google. It's like in their little email reply box where you just send with like your name and email. Hey, I want to kill 3 of my family members. How much is that going to run me? Question mark. I heard you guys have a 20% off sale. Question mark. Does that still apply? I have a coupon code that one of my friends gave me. Said he had good business with you.
What is Rent-A-Hitman? Established in 2005, Rent-A-Hitman was a website meant to give people easy access to contract assassins without having to use the dark web. With an easy-to-navigate website, customer testimonials, and even a careers page, it seems...
Customer testimonials? I would immediately go, this shit has to be fake. Customer testimonials. It's going to say, Rob Swanson. Yeah, I contacted Rent-A-Hitman to kill my wife. And they did it in 5 days. Very happy. 5 stars. And then it's just another dude. It's like John Hansen or something. I contacted them to kill my cousin, and they did, but they also killed the dog. 3.5 stars.
like Rent-A-Hitman, has taken an unconventional business model and transformed it into a real service. But what some unsuspecting people don't know is that all the information on the website is a lie, or rather a parody. Rent-A-Hitman was not an actual hitman service. In fact, if you take a deeper look at the site, you can probably tell that none of this was meant to be taken seriously.
I need to read one of these reviews. My business schedule is too busy to get my hands dirty with human resources issues. So I consulted Rent-A-Hitman, and they handled my disgruntled employee issue promptly while I was out of town on vacation. Gracias, Rent-A-Hitman. And this fucking old-ass woman went, oh my god, they have amazing reviews. Let me input something right now. Like, that is so obviously fake.
That none of this was meant to be taken seriously.
There's several red flags on the website. There's a banner ad. It opens up a new browser window for the Internet Crime Complaint Center that's run by the FBI.
On the front page, the site claims to be compliant with HIPAA, or Hitman Information Privacy and Protection Act of 1964, which, if you look it up, is...
And that HIPAA laws are a series of federal regulatory standards outlining the lawful use and disclosure of protected health information.
Definitely not what HIPAA stands for. The real origin of the website dates back to February 5th, 2005. Bob Inez bought the domain for just $9.20. He and his friends were working on an IT training program.
And it was a play on words. Rent as in hire us, hit as in web hit, visitor traffic analytics.
The team carried out hits on the online security measures of other companies.
Oh, it wasn't even supposed to be Hitmen? It wasn't even supposed to be a website for killing people originally?
So they decided to call themselves Hitmen, which led to the infamous Rent-A-Hitman. After the program was completed, Bob ended up keeping the domain in hopes of selling it in the future. But when no one wanted to buy it, Bob decided to just repurpose the site into a joke Hitman service to go with the name. He even opened up a forum on the site for people to submit their inquiries, comments, and...
Oh my god, it was literally exactly what I said. It's just a fucking... It's like a forum fill. And this bitch put in her fucking email and address and a fucking 2-paragraph thing about inquiring about a hitman.
Emails to the associated email address. Others weren't as good as taking the hint and sent in real inquiries about
media inquiries. If you have any questions or comments, direct contact.
Hiring a hitman. Bob ended up receiving dozens of actual hitman requests. Some would even send in addresses, photos, and private information about the targets, desperate to find someone to get the job done. We got to a point where Bob was genuinely concerned about the well-being of some of these targets.
Bob Inez showed us his pages and pages of printed out emails.
Yeah, I mean, if you have it as a joke website, some of the people might be like actually joking, but some of them, if they're like, yeah, this is where they live, I need him gone within 3 days, blah blah blah, I'd be like, holy fuck, dude, they might kill him themselves.
It's just a lot of solicitations from people around the world.
He decided to take action and prevent anything bad from happening to these people. That's why he started cooperating with law enforcement.
Kim Jong-un goes on Rent-A-Hitman.com. The guy's like, I actually think this is the leader of North Korea. He placed a hit on Joe Biden. There's like a lot of information here, personal information about Joe Biden that most people wouldn't have. I don't know. And there's just like he sent like a selfie too, just to prove that it was him. It's just Kim. He's like, yeah, can you kill the president for me?
To ensure that anyone sending in an actual hitman request would get dealt with accordingly. He started keeping track of people's information, even sending fake emails back to them to try and help the police get one step closer to catching them. It said that the site has prevented over 150 possible hits from actually happening. Bob constantly monitors the site's associated inbox to make sure that anything that raises any red flags is immediately reported to the authorities.
How do you describe yourself?
Cyber Crusader is, and I'm the webmaster of Rent-A-Hitman.com, your point-and-click solution.
And while most people by this point have realized that Rent-A-Hitman is nothing more than a gimmick, some people still try to use the site as a legitimate service, one of them being Zandra Ellis, the fake assassin. Bob received a service request from a woman named Jasmine Brown. In her message, Jasmine requested the help of a hitman to get rid of a woman whom she named BH. In the request, she also attached BH's personal information and social media handles to help aid the mission. Although the name on the form was Jasmine Brown, Bob was quick to realize that this name was nothing more than a cover-up name. That's because the email address and phone number used were associated with someone with a completely different profile.
Bro, did the email she put have her real name and her fucking contact name that she wrote as fake? was Jasmine Brown, and then her real name just showed in the email that she sent, so she didn't cover it up at all. It's just you click down on the email tab, and it just has her full handle.
Someone named Xandra Ellis. In her request, Xandra, aka Jasmine Brown, claimed
Xandra Ellis at yahoo.com. But it's like the user's Jasmine Brown.
That BH had been trying to harm her, so she wanted to catch her blindsided by striking first, which is why she wanted to enlist the help of a professional, one that could get rid of BH once and for all. Realizing that Xandra had every intent to go through with this, Bob took on a fake name himself and got into character. Pretending to be a hitman named B.I., Bob replied to her message. First, he asked the woman why she called herself Jasmine Brown, since the email that she used was connected to the name Xandra.
Beautiful8honey at zohomail.com. What the fuck is zohomail.com?
Ellis. Xandra was prepared for this question. She told Bob that the email that she was using was a fake name to protect her real identity. While Bob didn't believe this, he played along. He handed the reins over to the FBI, who assigned an agent to go undercover and catch Xandra red-handed. The FBI agent took on the role of Ace, a fake hitman at the Rent-A-Hitman service. He then contacted Xandra via text message asking if she was still interested in the services she had requested online. Almost immediately, she replied. Xandra was definitely still interested, but the only issue with her was the price.
How much will it cost? What do you think the FBI is going to say? Imagine they're like, well, we actually have a flash sale going on, so it's going to be about 85% off. You know, business has been kind of low this month. July's kind of a down month for hitmen. People are usually pretty happy at the beach, so, you know, we're going to give it to you for $5K.
FBI agent posing as Ace informed her
$1,000? Bro, that's how I'd immediately know this shit's fake. That's how I immediately know this shit's fake. One rack to kill someone. What the fuck? $1,000. She's about to be like, oh goody, that's really cheap.
That it would be $1,000 for the job, with a $100 upfront payment to seal the deal. This was something she could do, and she even negotiated with the FBI agent Ace to pay the rest in $250 installments over the next
$250. Okay, cool. I got the 100, but we'll need just a little time for the rest until I can do installments. Bro, what is this? What are you financing? A fucking car? What are you fucking doing installments for a fucking iPhone? She's gonna do monthly payments for a fucking hit. If you don't got the grand, if you don't got the grand to do this, what the fuck? The lol after I can do installments. LOL.
Ace to pay the rest in $250 installments over the next few weeks. The two set a meeting time at a local Waffle House in New Orleans for Xandra to give the down payment. But while Xandra was over the moon that she was fine,
the down payment, dude, she brings in like 2 wrinkled 20s of 50, and then the rest in just change. It's like $90 in cash and 10 in like nickels and dimes and shit. She like throws it on the table. She's like, all right, will this get me at least through the first hit? You'll be able to take at least a finger from this, right? I'll pay you back. It's gonna take me 5 years though. Could we just do like $5 installments maybe?
Finally going to get rid of BH, the victim. What she didn't know was she would end up walking right into her own downfall. A few days later, on July 6th, 2018, Xandra arrived at the Waffle House with an unexpected guest. Xandra had brought her own kid to a meeting with a supposed hitman.
No.
She spotted Ace sitting in a booth at the restaurant, and she sat down next to him, ready to hand off the cash. But Ace came prepared. Without Xandra knowing, he stashed a recording device.
She went with her kid?
During the conversation, the FBI agent was quickly able to find out Xandra's motivations for the job. Turns out that both BH and Xandra had kids with the same guy. This already tense relationship got even worse after the two started an intense feud on social media, which caused Xandra's hatred for the woman to get so strong that she wanted to hire a contract assassin. Xandra claimed that the other woman, BH, had been making threats against her and her unborn child, and that by doing this, she was going to keep her family safe. This led to the FBI agent asking if she had anything else to protect herself with, to which Xandra replied, always strapped. This, of course, was also captured in the recording. It didn't take long for the agent to gather enough evidence to put Xandra behind bars, and when he had finally heard enough, he began the arrest. He cuffed Xandra.
What is upsetting, though, is, like, the other woman also might be bad. You know, like, the other woman, for somebody to stoop this low, you have to think the other woman might actually be threatening them. Like, it doesn't discount what she's doing, but, like, for this woman to, like, genuinely be stupid enough to be like, I need to get a hitman, like, she might actually genuinely feel, like, unsafe. Why are they arresting her? Because she's trying to... It's attempted murder. She's paying someone to fucking kill someone.
Table just moments before she was about to leave the Waffle House. But while Xandra used the site as it was originally intended, others don't just see Rent-A-Hitman as a service, but rather a possible employer. I want to be a hitman. The job market can be tough, especially for those coming out of military service.
Oh,
rather
they actually want to fucking, like, they do a forum request to try and become one.
To an office job or trying something new, this ex-Tennessee Air National Guardsman decided to pursue a job more suited to his talents, particularly his sharpshooting skills. In February 2023, Josiah Ernesto Garcia, like so many others, went on Rent-A-Hitman.
2023? I thought all these were going to be from, like, 2008.
And to send in an inquiry. Rather than asking for the usual services, he did something that no one had done on the site before.
According to the criminal complaint, in early February, Garcia submitted a resume and identification documents saying he was, quote, an expert marksman and earned the nickname Reaper.
Instead of wanting to hire a
I mean, why not just stay in the military at that point? If you're like, I mean, I don't know. But if he's like still kind of gung-ho on like killing people or some shit, dude, I'd be like, just stay. Why not just stay in the military? I mean, it's not good because, like, you shouldn't want to kill people. Like, anybody that's in the military should just be doing it to, like, you know, help the country, not murder people. But I'm sitting here like, if that's in his mind the only thing he can do, you could just rejoin.
Wanted to be hired as one instead. After leaving the military, Josiah was in desperate need of money since his family was struggling. He and his partner were about to become parents and they needed extra cash to support the child. Josiah thought that becoming a hitman would be the perfect profession for him, seeing as he'd had plenty of marksmanship experience during his military days. In his inquiry, Josiah talked about his time in the Air National Guard as an airman first class and how all that he learned could be applied to his future as a hitman. After his initial message received...
Yeah, but to have that confidence that you would get away with murder, like, it is not... We don't live in, like, the fucking 1920s anymore. There are cameras and people everywhere. Killing someone and getting away with it is so hard in today's fucking world, dude. Like, you could leave in the middle of the night and you could walk to their house and fucking shoot them and walk back, dude. There's still going to be somebody that saw you and they're going to go, yeah, most murders don't get solved. I feel like that is so untrue. What % of murders go unsolved? Half of murders don't get solved? Half? Half? While the rate at which murders are solved or cleared has been declining for decades, it has now dropped to slightly below 50% in 2020, a new historic low. And several big cities, including Chicago, have seen the number of murder cases resulting in at least one arrest dip into the low to mid-30s range. How? 50%. I wonder what it is by state. How do 50% of U.S. murders go unsolved? A lot of people this is on Reddit, so I mean, take this with a grain of salt, but a lot of people are saying that the fact that murder arrests has gone down is due to the fact that they need evidence and they probably wrongly convicted or threw people in jail. Or even if they were guilty, you kind of need to prove that they're guilty. Like, you could know somebody killed someone, but you have to prove it. But that's also for the protection of people because you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. Which, you know, sadly isn't a thing in many cases today, especially on social media. But, I mean, dude, like, that's kind of the up and the downside of it. Like, the downside example is like O.J. Simpson. Like, basically everybody believes that O.J. Simpson killed his wife, right? Like, I would say the majority of people, if you asked, did O.J. do it, everybody would say yes. But they couldn't prove it. So he didn't go to jail, right? But in other cases, you need that in place because people can accuse people of things that did nothing wrong.
Josiah reached out again. This time, Bob couldn't ignore it.
I'm looking for a job that pays well related to my military experience, shooting and the marked target so I can support my kid on the way.
It was clear that Josiah had every intention of wanting to be hired, so Bob knew that he had to pass this information along to the authorities. Bob, under the guidance of the FBI, pretended to be a recruiter and messaged Josiah back. The two then went back and forth in a conversation, with Josiah incriminating himself more and more with every reply. Josiah laid it out to Bob, telling him that he'd been looking into this career path for a while now, since it was good money, and he needed that support for himself and his family, especially the baby on the way. Josiah also allegedly told Bob that his rate for each hit job was $5,000.
Bro, that's like cheap, dude. That's cheap, dude. I don't know what these hitmen are, or like what this guy's thinking. Bro, killing somebody for 5 racks. 5 racks to murder someone. And then also try and get away with that shit. Like, you're risking life in prison and also, you know, the guilt of killing people for $5K. Like, I wouldn't bat an eye at, like, fucking 200,000. But $5,000? If he said, like, 50, I'd be like, you know, eh.
While all this was going on, the FBI was...
Shit, Joe, you could afford that? Dude, most people can afford fucking $5K to kill somebody with a bunch of installments.
Busy setting up a sting operation to catch Josiah in the act. They prepared a time, date, and place for Josiah and an undercover agent to meet up. The agent would pretend to be a hitman who was there to give Josiah his first ever target. The location that they ended up picking was a local park in Hendersonville, Tennessee. The FBI prepared a convincing fake target packet which contained fictitious photos, information, and $2,500 in cash as a down payment for the gig. On the day of the meetup, both Josiah and the agent arrived at the spot on time. In the agent's hand, there was a fake target packet. The evidence they needed was now right in front of them. All they had to do was wait for Josiah to take the package and confirm his intent to harm the person shown in the photos. As expected, Josiah took the packet, and allegedly he even asked if he needed to provide a photo after the fact to prove that the job
of a dead body
was done. But before he could even get an answer to his question, the police were already on the scene, putting him under arrest. After this encounter, the police then searched his house for further evidence.
And to have that fucking confidence, too, that you could do that, like, do y'all think you could get away with murder? No. Fuck no, dude. No. Never in a million years. Oh my god. You could think, okay, floating put a resounding yes in all caps. I feel like you've thought about this too much. Yes, and this is exactly what I would do.
They found a firearm that he was going to be using to complete the job. This, combined with him being caught in the act, gave police enough evidence to lock Josiah up for 10 years if convicted. But while Josiah got himself arrested for trying to support his family, this next case is the complete opposite, because this man hated his mother-in-law so much that it landed him in prison. The mother-in-law dispute. In April of 2022, Leif Everett Heyman took the issues he had with his girlfriend's mother to extreme...
Let's just say I played Hitman 3. Yeah, I think I could get away with murder. Let's just say I've beaten every Hitman mission. 5 stars. Let's just say I've done the silent assassin missions in Hitman 1, 2, and 3. I've even done some of the custom ones. You know, I'm not trying to say that I could, you know, probably get away with it pretty easily, but... You know, a police officer's standing over there. I throw a pipe. It lands and it hits the floor. Police officer goes, huh? I shoot him. Then I run past him. My target, sitting in a local Denny's. I run in. I crouch behind him. I throw a quarter into the bathroom stall. He hears it. He goes inside, wondering what that was. I drown him in a toilet. Then I walk out.
According to Bob Inez, the man had made multiple requests on the website, sending in his mother-in-law's private information several times to try and get the job done. In his initial request, he had written this: "I want her gone now. Too much I don't like about her. She's controlling my wife." But
and let's just say, if it really came down to it, I could attach a bomb to a rubber ducky. I give him said rubber ducky, and he thinks I just gave him a present. Little does he know, there's a bomb Strapped to the bottom of it.
But after this and a couple of other requests went ignored, Leif started to get impatient, and he made that very clear in his follow-up emails. He sent a message to Bob's inbox complaining about how no one's reached out to him to conduct the job. You people are fake. I can't wait anymore. I'm doing it myself. After Bob read that disturbing message, Bob knew he had to do something. Leif had claimed that he would do the job himself, and if he did, there was no way for Bob to track that anymore. The life of Leif's mother-in-law was essentially in his hands, so he did what he did best. He passed the messages on to the authorities and oversaw an undercover mission to get Leif caught. All of Leif's information was sent, and in May of 2022, the sting operation against Leif Everett Heyman began.
The undercover agent, posing as the hitman, contacted Heyman. The agent says that Heyman kept telling him he wanted the woman, quote, gone off the earth.
Posing as a hitman from the website, an undercover agent contacted Leif to get all the details and started gathering evidence for the case. Despite reaching out multiple times for the service, Leif told the agent that he was on an extreme budget. He initially proposed a $200 fee to get the job done, but then dropped it down to $53, saying that he couldn't get enough money from his girlfriend. A few days later, on May 11th, 2022, the undercover agent set out to meet with Leif. Instead of picking a public place like usual, the two had decided to meet in Leif's house in New Mexico. And when the agent arrived, it made sense why. Because Leif had his own secret motives that he hadn't disclosed to his hitman. Leif had been living with a state-appointed guardian and full-time caregivers, as he had intellectual disabilities that required him to have extra help at home. And when the agent arrived,
So what the fuck was he gonna do?
tensions were high between Leif and one of his caregivers. Although the job had been initially just about Leif's mother-in-law, it took
Oh my god, was he gonna pay the hitman to fucking kill one of his caregivers?
only moments for the agent to realize that Leif had other plans in mind. He had more than one enemy and definitely more than one target. Leif made it clear that he wanted the hitman to get rid of the caregiver in question, even saying that it was part of the deal. The agent, completely blindsided, didn't know how to react. Leif and his caregiver began getting into a heated dispute. With so much of this not going to plan, the agent decided to abort the undercover mission, driving away from the scene. But still, the original goal remained. They
Driving away?
had enough evidence to get Leif charged, so that's exactly what they did. Leif was taken into custody, and while his intellectual disabilities did raise a debate about whether or not he was fit to stand trial, he ultimately was deemed competent. He now faces a sentence of up to 10 years. While Leif used Rent-A-Hitman to get rid of his partner's mother, some people want to get rid of their actual partners. The difficult divorce. On July 17th,
Oh my god, somebody paying to kill their wife or husband. I saw one video, I don't think this was Rent-A-Hitman, but I saw one video of a woman that believed she was paying a hitman to kill her husband, like current husband, and the cops like lied and went up to her and they were like, your husband's dead. And she like fake cried and everything. She was like, you're kidding me, right? This can't be happening. But she's like the one that paid for him to die. But he didn't actually die. They just told her he did. And then they ended up telling her, like, you know, we know you paid to kill your husband.
a Michigan woman by the name of Wendy Wayne offered Rent-A-Hitman $5,000 to complete a job on her ex-husband. The reason for her request? She caught her husband cheating on her with the babysitter. She wanted him to pay for what he did with his life. Wendy reportedly offered $5,000 to compensate for the hitman's travel expenses, as her ex lived in a different state, and she wanted to make sure that the hitman had enough money to ensure everything went smoothly. A state trooper pretending to be a hitman met with Wendy in a South Rockwood parking lot where she was meant to hand off a down payment. But instead of securing the job, Wendy was met with handcuffs, because it didn't take long for her to realize that the man in front of her was not a trained assassin, but rather an officer of the law. Although it might seem that Wendy's method to get revenge against her ex is pretty shocking, she's by no means the only person who used the site for this reason. This next case is similar, but instead of trying to eliminate the ex, Devin wanted to get rid of her and her entire family. Breakup gone wrong. In early 2018, 20-year-old Devin and his girlfriend were going through a rough breakup. With a 3-year-old daughter also in the picture, the two splitting made their situation even more difficult. And out of the two of them, Devin wasn't going to be the one to get custody. But instead of moving on or trying to get custody in court, he decided to seek out the help of a hitman through Rent-A-Hitman. He wanted to eliminate his ex-girlfriend once and for all and guarantee that he would be the one to take care of the child. But if that wasn't enough,
shit,
he
dude.
didn't just submit her as a target. He sent in the information of both her parents as well in hopes of getting rid of all three of them. So on February 3rd, 2018, Devin's requests were finally heard after Bob forwarded his messages to the August County Sheriff's Office. The deputy then disguised himself as
wanting to be the dad that bad? Yo, I get wanting to have custody of your child as, like, I am a child of divorce. But to the point where you'd kill someone, you still have visiting rights. You're still their dad. You know, you just don't get to, like, have the say of what happens. That's not good for the child? Well, no shit.
as a hitman.
Now the kid's gonna grow up knowing that the dad fucking tried to kill his mom.
In their conversations, Devin revealed his motive for putting a hit on 3 people, saying that he could be a good father to the girl, but his ex and her family were getting in the way. But although Devin wanted more than ever to have this job completed, nothing came of it because he was struggling to come up with money for the service, which meant that money wasn't exchanged between Devin and the deputy leading up to the arrest. To the officer, it seemed like Devin had simply gotten cold feet and no longer wanted to go through with it. But that didn't pardon his
Oh my god, does he end up killing her himself? No.
original intentions. And on February 12th, 2018, Devin was arrested on 3 counts of solicitation to commit first degree. Although Devin wanted to rent a hitman to take care of a young child, some people try to use the service for the very opposite reason. The mom who solicited against her son. In
No! A mom that tried to kill her son, her kid?
2023, Jasmine Paez did pretty much the worst thing a mother could do by requesting services for her own son. Jasmine, who was only 18 years old at the time, felt like this was the only thing that she could do to preserve her great love story, and that this was a worthy sacrifice to keep her boyfriend by her side. Jasmine, who lived in Miami-Dade County at the time, was dating an 18-year-old named Gamaliel Souza. The two had been on and off for ages, with one thing always causing the two to break up, or rather, one person, Jasmine's son. Gamaliel told Jasmine time and time again that he did not like her child, even claiming that he was getting in the way of their relationship.
Okay, well that's just a dickhead-ass boyfriend, bruh.
He disliked the kid so much that he would openly encourage her to get rid of him by any means necessary. He allegedly said, "The kid is the problem. I hope you see that. All I ever wanted was to free you." Their most recent breakup was the final straw. Gamaliel had enough and decided that unless she took care of the job, he wasn't coming back. "You do it, and I'll think about coming back," he allegedly.
Think about it. So he's telling her to fucking kill her kid, and then maybe he'll get back together with her. Newsflash, that's not why the relationship didn't work out. Y'all ain't fucking meant for each other. The kid wasn't in the fucking way. It might have not helped. It's not the reason fucking you guys didn't work out.
Jasmine, desperate to keep him by her side, had tried to please him by lying and saying that her son was already out of the picture. But when Gamaliel asked for proof, she couldn't provide that. So unable to give him the evidence he wanted, Jasmine decided that all that was left to do was to actually get the job done for real this time. This is why she went on Rent-A-Hitman, hoping that she and Gamaliel could finally live happily ever after together.
And those Google searches were probably crazy. How do I pay someone to kill someone? Where can I find a hitman? How much does a hitman usually cost? Probably just like strings of fucking Google searches. I remember I saw one guy that got convicted of murder because he killed his wife, and it like they went over his Google searches like minute by minute, and at like 3 in the morning he was like, "How do you decompose a dead body?" At 3:03. How long does it take to decompose a body? At like 3:05. What chemicals can I use to get rid of human bone? And it was like, and he's just sitting there like bro's like actually fucking Google searching on Reddit forums how to fucking burn bodies and shit.
Bob contacted the authorities immediately because Bob was worried that if he didn't reply, she would find another way to get what she wanted. And if she did that, there was no way he could stop her. Bob immediately contacted the Miami-Dade Police Department after verifying all of Jasmine's information. He gave them her name, associated email addresses, and all the corresponding messages that she sent to the Rent-A-Hitman site. But instead of doing something about it, the Miami-Dade police decided not to help. They redirected Bob to Crime Stoppers instead. But Bob persisted, knowing that there was a child in danger out there, and the time was running out to save him. It took several attempts for the Miami Police Department to hear him out. They even threatened to send him a cease and desist letter before they took action. But thankfully, they got to it in time. Jasmine Paez was arrested for
They were gonna fucking send him a cease and desist so they would stop bothering him.
charges of first-degree solicitation and third-degree using a communications device for unlawful use. Shortly afterward, her ex-boyfriend Gamaliel Souza was also arrested due to how much he pressured Jasmine into doing
Oh, I
this.
thought he killed her.
He was charged as well. My friends, don't let temporary emotions lead to permanent consequences. Visual Venture. Thanks to
Damn, that was a W-ass fucking video, bro. I loved that. All right, next.